Well, good morning. Thank you for joining us. It's Thursday, Throwback Thursday, and as always, Ruben Pima has been on the, what should I call it, on the mixer, trying to take us back in time. And today he really took us back in time. There was some Oliver Ngoma here and many others. Now, if you're a fan or old soul when it comes to music, you should make a date with us every single Thursday morning, because that's what we do. We take you back. It could be Ugandan music, East African, or any music from different parts of the world and every single genre that you're interested in, because there was also Michael Lands to rock. So that's what we do every Thursday morning. But getting into Good Morning Uganda, what we do is update you on every single news story that you have been following in the news, especially those that you deem to have been quite out of the ordinary. That's what we do, but also we entertain you. Now later on we will be having topical discussions, and among those is the conversation regarding domestic violence, because even the Parliament of Uganda denounced the vice and said it has no place in our society. But that being said, should Parliament do more than just denouncing? What are they putting in place? What are they suggesting should be put in place to ensure that gender-based violence is no longer part of the conversation in this country, because it is non-existent? Now, we will be delving into that conversation at 7, so make a point to stay with us and give us your opinions on the numbers that we will share lately. I'm Olive Monica Najama, together with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono and Jerome Paul Sonko in Studio B, and that's where I'll start from. Good morning, Jerome.
Good morning to you, and good morning to our dear viewer. Here we are, and moving on strong. Thursday it is, and you've mentioned that it's Throwback Thursday, and I'm just going to throw back a little bit to about 4 years ago in 2020, when we were in the lockdown, the pandemic. And in September, you get to realize that we are at the peak of the lockdown in Uganda, simply because every time the president was coming to address the nation, the chances were high we were getting an extensive lockdown of days at home. And of course, it became a norm for many of us that you could not wake up in the morning having higher anticipations of going out to town and, let's say, grab a taxi, or let's say switch on your car engine, because the only people who were able to access their workstations or different workplaces were essential workers, those in the media, the health practitioners, people working for some of the COVID-19 task force or task rescue teams. And you get to realize that it was, it feels like yesterday, but it now feels like a very long time ago, because those 2 years, 2020 and 2021, did not only leave memories or fresh memories for Ugandans, but for the entire world, simply because of the lockdowns, the quarantine, and, well, on the sad note of things, those people who lost their loved ones during that time. But of course, in Uganda's perspective, you also get to realize that by this time, most of the cases had rose to about 6,000 in regards to those who are already affected by COVID-19, and those cases were actually growing rapidly with time to time. But that said, here we are. Good morning, Uganda, and I am geared up for what Thursday has to present for me.
Well, thank you, Jerome. Now, this week, schools also opened for the third term, where candidates will be sitting their national exams to transition into the next level. Primary school children, that is the P7 candidates, will be sitting the exams that will transition them into secondary school. And senior 4 candidates will be sitting first, the first set ever of the new curriculum, but also they will be expecting to transition into A-level, and A-level will be expecting to transition into university. But as that goes, there is a report that some government-funded schools are actually charging fees, yet the government gives them money. So the government is now has now moved to actually stop funding these schools because some of them are charging fees as well as you'd find in private schools. Also, there is a report which indicates that schools are ripping off parents because their school fees dues are extremely high. And when I look at the Daily Monitor today, I see they have earmarked a few schools. Among them is St. Mary's Chitende, which is a private school and charges 3.3 million shillings. Nabisunsa Girls School, which is a government school, and it charges 3 million shillings. Now in Eastern Region, there is Lakeview Holy Cross, which is a private school charging 1.1 million shillings, and Busoga College Mwiri, which is a government school charging 1,606,000 shillings. Now in Western Region, there is St. Paul's Bukindo SS, which charges 560,000 shillings, and it is a private school. But Ntare School, which is a government school, is charging 2,020,000. And in Northern Region, Ocha Champion Jesuit College, which is a private school, charges 1.2 million shillings, and St. Joseph's Ombachi is a government school, charges 700,000. So according to this report, it is only in northern Uganda where these schools are charging the least amount of money, but in other regions of the country, they are charging extenuous amounts of money, and yet some of them are government-aided schools, meaning they get funding from government. So it begs for the question, why are they charging this much school fees? Good morning, Robert.
Thank you for your violence this early.
How? In what sense?
Why would you look at a private school? Because we are in a liberal economy.
Yes.
And we decided also among businesses someone can do is education, despite it being a right.
No, now this report is juxtaposing government schools and private schools. So they are showing that this private school is charging 3.3 million shillings, but a government-aided school is also charging 3 million shillings.
Okay.
So it's understandable that a private school would charge, but why is the government school charging?
No, why is the government school charging? Otherwise, when it comes to my good friend, Dr. Lawrence Mulindoa of St. Mary's Chitende, greetings to you. Thank you for always being with us on Good Morning Uganda. Now, yesterday, something struck my mind. There is a case running in Uganda Road. Professionally, I cannot go into the ingredients of the case.
Okay.
But the case is about someone forging a will. Can you imagine?
Has it been confirmed that the will was forged, or the case is ongoing?
The case is ongoing, so journalistically we are a bit, but we can just look at the gist of the matter.
So someone
allegedly went to
allegedly
court and allegedly says the will that was presented and what you're saying, they're totally different. And there are VIPs there testifying as witnesses. Former Katiki Rose, Alozia Smart of Joy. But something was on my mind saying, where has the integrity of Ugandans gone?
But you see, Robert, you are the one who normally says that according to our laws, one is innocent until proven guilty. And like you said, this case is still ongoing. And let's look at the facts of the case and how the judgment will be.
This could be just one of the other cases happening, because I was discussing with a friend, told me, no, even people forge wills. People, you make your will, then someone will just get someone good in handwriting, change everything, destroy what you kept with them. But do you have a will?
No.
I understand women rarely make wills.
But I know that we all should have wills.
Yeah, that a woman, if you're married, there's always that assumption that the man will die first.
Well, look at the life expectancy of Ugandans, but also across the world. Women outlive men. When you look at Uganda's life expectancy, women were expected to live up until at least 63, whereas men are expected to live up until at least 61. Now, people have gone over that, but that is our life expectancy. And honestly, if you do your research, you're going to find more widows than widowers.
Yes, that is very true.
So I think that's where the concept comes from.
It's very common for a woman to be discussing her husband and says, "Katibo feed that one." But then you wonder, there's that assumption, you know, in case, but you people, why do you have to?
But you know, when a wife asks you that, Robert, and Joram could actually highlight on this, when a wife asks you that, it is not necessarily that she's expecting you to die first.
Why don't you assume
but it
if
is,
you died first?
But you're the provider, you're the protector of this home. So in the event that you're not there, what is life going to be like? I think that's where the question comes from, right, Joram?
I'm not going to comment on anything to do with marriages. Yeah.
Your
Talk about her dying before you.
Anyway, let's get into the local news.
Recently, someone calls me home and says, you know, this is my land title, but I'm aging. I want you to go and add on your mother's name, because in case I die, it may be hard for you to. But look at this part.
Robert, you're fighting a losing battle. Let's get into the news.
Let's go into this one, no balance for sure. Well, we'll begin with our local stories, where government has updated Parliament on the progress of the capitation grant as per the financial year 2024-2025. A total of 158 local governments have been cleared by the Ministry of Education and Sports to release the funds for capitation grants, and the rest will be received by the end of September this very year. This follows a technology challenge which includes registering the students online using Education Management Information System. The Minister of State for Primary Education, Joyce Kaduchu Moriku, told Parliament on the progress. The police have attributed the high cases of corruption to middlemen who cheat unsuspecting Ugandans, but in the long run, Ugandans blame police for it. This has been disclosed by the Commissioner of Police and also Kampala Metropolitan Police Commander Esiga Richard at the launch of the anti-corruption signposts at Central Police Station in Kampala. The Inspectorate of Government has launched anti-corruption signposts to enhance transparency and accountability. Commander Richard underscored the role of police in combating corruption. The unveiling of 10 strategically placed anti-corruption signposts, referred to as billboards, was presented as a strong statement of government's commitment to eradicating corruption. Commander Esiga also addressed the challenges faced by police in maintaining a positive public image. These signposts, located in Kabalagala, Katwe, and at Central Police Station, will serve as daily reminders to both the public and government officials of the ongoing battle against corruption. The creation of a professional standards unit in police was highlighted as a key effort to uphold moral standards and prevent corruption in police stations. This launch is part of the Inspectorate of Government's efforts to fight corruption and ensure accountability in all sectors of Uganda's government. Now over to affairs of garbage in KCCA. The Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago, through powers entitled to him as his office, has issued a directive to KCCA Executive Director Dorothy Kisaka to hold the acquisition of land for establishment of a waste management facility until the City Executive Committee SEC receives a comprehensive progressive report. This decision comes after a deadline as advertised in the print media to have the highest bidder to provide the land and that expired with no communication from the technical wing, hence transparency issues. Lukwago pins the delay in the procurement process to prior critical research and technicalities involved to fit the required terms. David Luyimbazi, the Deputy Executive Director, KCCA, however, in response, has objected to this directive, ruling to no valid reason to prevent them from acquiring the funded land. Meanwhile, Mayor Lukwago has called on the Inspectorate of Government to expedite the formulation and release of Kitezi garbage tragedy report. According to the recent report provided by the IGG's office, the Inspectorate of Government has ranked KCCA as one of the most corrupt local government authorities in the country and the third most corrupt entity in the whole country. And finally, from the local scene, after assessing the level of damage on the Karuma Bridge, the Ministry of Works and Transport decided to hold any motor vehicle movement across the bridge to pave way for renovation. In a press conference at Parliament, a section of members of Parliament from northern Uganda criticized the actions due to predictable social and economic impact. The bridge that connects the north to central Uganda is expected to undergo renovation for 3 months. While halting the movement, the Minister of Works and Transport, General Katumba Amala, disclosed that government has provided alternatives to connecting to the other region. The MPs argue that the alternatives, including the ferry, are less viable and are costly in the movement of goods and services. Government is requested to expedite the process of renovation works to ease improvement of connection to northern Uganda to the rest of the country and regions.
Now we move on and see what international news has for us today. And at least 20 people have been killed and more than 450 wounded by a second wave of explosions from wireless communication devices in Lebanon. This according to the country's health ministry. Walkie-talkies used by the armed group Hezbollah blew up in the southern suburbs of the capital Beirut, the Bekaa Valley and southern Lebanon, areas seen as its strongholds. Some of the blasts took place during funerals for some of the 12 people who the ministry said were killed when Hezbollah members' pagers exploded on Tuesday. Hezbollah blamed Israel for the attack. Israel has not yet commented. The attacks came as Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant announced a new phase in the war and as an Israeli army division was redeployed to the north. Now speaking matters United States election, one of America's most influential labor unions, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, has declined to issue a U.S. presidential endorsement for the first time since 1996. The union, which boasts some 1.3 million members across the United States and Canada, said it had received few commitments on top Teamsters issues from either Democratic nominee Kamala Harris or Republican nominee Donald Trump. It also claimed that polling of its rank and file members found no definitive support for either candidate, though 2 of its recent polls indicated lopsided support for Trump. The move is a major blow to the Harris campaign's efforts to win over working-class voters with less than 50 days before election night. An endorsement had the potential to mobilize thousands of Teamsters who live, work, and vote in the crucial battleground states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Shortly after the announcement, some Teamsters regional councils representing more than 500,000 members in Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and California said they would be endorsing Harris. And coming back to Africa, Islamist insurgents in Burkina Faso have stepped up attacks on civilians, carrying out door-to-door killings, slitting throats, and targeting Christian worshippers, a report by campaign group Human Rights Watch says. It quoted data showing that more than 6,000 deaths, including around 1,000 civilians killed by Islamist insurgents, have been recorded in the West African state in the first 8 months of the year 2024. Burkina Faso has been battling jihadist groups, including those linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State (IS) since 2016. When Captain Ibrahim Traore seized power in a coup 2 years ago, he pledged to improve the dire security situation within 2 to 3 months. However, the violence has only escalated. Released on Wednesday, Human Rights Watch's report documents gruesome atrocities committed by jihadists. Attacks are often carried out in retaliation against communities who have refused to join the ranks of the jihadists or have been accused of collaborating with government troops, this according to Human Rights Watch. Now with that, we end our international news, but we have dailies like Daily Monitor and the New Vision Plus, dailies from Kenya and Tanzania. Jerome Paul Sonko will take us through those.
And kicking it off with the New Vision, UNEB issues new rules for 2024 examinations. The borders banned from transporting materials as well. That is matters to do with UNEB, as we are into third term now, where the finals will as well be held in regards to the candidates. Now also President Museveni's full birthday speech is in the New Vision cover today. As in opinion matters, China together with Africa on journey to modernization. Also in the New Vision, coffee and gold boost Uganda's exports. Find out more in today's New Vision. Also, Katanga trial expert explains DNA on gun trigger. Then elsewhere, 273 guns recovered in Karamoja. There's a pictorial of the 273 guns that were recovered at the front page of today's New Vision. Also, Church on Spot for charging extra fees in UPE and USE schools. That is with our New Vision. Now to the Daily Monitor, government school fees rip-off. You can find a report that rotates around government schools have their cake and eat it too. A report is showing that some government-aided schools are charging as much fees as private schools, which has triggered calls for government to stop funding them. Now there is a report showing the schools in northern region that charge the least fees. Looking at the eastern region, St. Mary's Chitende private is charging 3.3, Nabisunsa is charging 3 million, and Nabisunsa Girls SS is a government-aided school, while Chitende St. Mary's is private, and the only difference there is 300,000 Ugandan shillings. Now looking at the eastern region, Lakeview Holy Cross, which is a private school, charges 1.1 million Ugandan shillings. Meanwhile, Busoga College Mwiri, which is government-aided, is charging 1.6 million Ugandan shillings. And then in the western region, St. Paul's Buchinde SS, which is private, is charging 560,000 shillings, while Ntare School, which is government-aided, according to the Daily Monitor, is charging 2,020,000 Ugandan shillings. And then in the northern region, Ocha Champion Jeshu College is charging 1.2, which is a private institution, while St. Joseph's College Ombachi does charge 700,000 Ugandan shillings, which is government. Now there's also a more detailed breakdown of the same in our Daily Monitor. Also off to the Daily Monitor, garbage crisis exposes dirty politics at Kampala City Council Authority. As in the other news, lawmakers now become jittery over Karuma Bridge works, and also scientists to spend 100 million shillings per monkey in new vaccine study. And in marathon, there is the Elgon Half Marathon, which is set to amplify message against gender-based violence. That and more is with the Daily Monitor. Now let's cross the borders to Kenya and look at what the Daily Nation is reporting this Thursday. Playing with our children is future. The education sector in Kenya is in a crisis because, according to what is coming up, is that in junior secondary public school students in grades 7 and 8 are bearing the brunt of chaotic transition in the new CBC system. And then school fire tragedies. Parents fear for the safety of their children in boarding schools amid failure to adhere to set guidelines. And then university fees changes. A new funding model has led to student protests over questionable banding and resulting in a second review. And also a wave of pay strikes. Teachers in primary and secondary schools as well as university dons and workers have donned down their tools. More is in the Daily Nation. Now, Kochi Muli's fourth bid for IEBC job faces headwind, according to the Daily Nation, as Kanja, all set to be named police boss after members of parliament nod, and Adani fights off cases in dispute over Jomo Kenyatta International Airport lease. And in matters sport, junior starlets off to World Cup. Find more details there. And then Kenyan officers arrest leaders of Haiti gangs following more of their deployment in Haiti. Now, how Raila used the cabinet deal to settle ODM rows. That report is in the Daily Nation. Lastly, from our press review is the Citizen, how dollar shortage has affected manufacturers as a campaign to improve working conditions for women gets fresh boost in Tanzania. Also, analysts, what government should do in wake of Dodoma killings. And in Kili Trek Organization denies allegations of unfair trade practices. That and more is with our press review this Thursday.
Thank you, Joram. Now, I did say that on Thursday we throw back. Now here is UB40 with Stick By Me. We'll be right back and we'll be having a conversation regarding how we can curb the vice that is domestic violence. I'd like for you to be part of this conversation, so stick around.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Expecting to transition into A-level, and A-level will be expecting to transition into university. But as that goes, there is a report that some government-funded schools are actually charging fees, yet the government gives them money. So the government is now has now moved to actually stop funding these schools because some of them are charging fees as well as you'd find in private schools. Also, there is a report which indicates that schools are ripping off parents because their school fees dues are extremely high. And when I look at the Daily Monitor today, I see they have earmarked a few schools. Among them is St. Mary's Chitende, which is a private school and charges 3.3 million shillings. Nabisunsa Girls School, which is a government school, and it charges 3 million shillings. Now in Eastern Region, there is Lakeview Holy Cross, which is a private school charging 1.1 million shillings. And Busoga College Mwiri, which is a government school charging 1,606,000 shillings. Now in Western Region, there is St. Paul's Bukindo SS, which charges 560,000 shillings, and it is a private school. But Ntare School, which is a government school, is charging 2,020,000. And in Northern Region, Ocha Champion Jesuit College, which is a private school, charges 1.2 million shillings. And St. Joseph's Ombachig is a government school, charges 700,000. So according to this report, it is only in northern Uganda where these schools are charging the least amount of money, but in other regions of the country, they are charging extenuous amounts of money, and yet some of them are government-aided schools, meaning they get funding from government. So it begs for the question, why are they charging this much school fees? Good morning, Robert.
Thank you for your violence this early.
How? In what sense?
And why would you look at a private school? Because we are in a liberal economy.
Yes.
And we decided also among businesses someone can do is education, despite it being a right.
No, now this report is juxtaposing government schools and private schools. So they are showing that this private school is charging 3.3 million shillings, but a government-aided school is also charging 3 million shillings. Okay. So it's understandable that a private school would charge, but why is the government school charging?
No, why is the government school charging? Otherwise, when it comes to my good friend, Dr. Lawrence Mulindoa of St. Mary's Chitende, Greetings to you. Thank you for always being with us on Good Morning Uganda. Now, yesterday, something struck my mind. There is a case running in Uganda Road. Professionally, I cannot go into the ingredients of the case.
Okay.
But the case is about someone forging a will. Can you imagine?
Has it been confirmed that the will was forged, or the case is ongoing?
The case is ongoing, so journalistically we are a bit, but you can just look at the gist of the matter.
So someone
allegedly went to court and allegedly says the will that was presented and what you're saying, they're totally different. And there are VIPs there testifying as witnesses from Akatikiros, Alosius Matovujoy. But something was on my mind saying, where has the integrity of Ugandans gone?
But you see, Robert, you are the one who normally says that according to our laws, one is innocent until proven guilty. And like you said, this case is still ongoing. And let's look at the facts of the case and how the judgment will be.
This could be just one of the other cases happening. Because I was discussing with a friend, told me, no, even people forge wills. People, you make your will, then someone will just get someone good in handwriting, change everything, destroy what you kept with them. Do you have a will?
No.
I understand women rarely make wills.
But I know that we all should have wills.
Yeah, that a woman, if you're married, there's always that assumption that the man will die first.
Well, look at the life expectancy of Ugandans, but also across the world. Women outlive men. When you look at Uganda's life expectancy, women are expected to live up until at least 63, whereas men are expected to live up until at least 61. Now, people have gone over that, but that is our life expectancy. And honestly, if you do your research, you're going to find more widows than widowers.
Yes, that is very true.
So I think that's where the concept comes from.
It's very common for a woman to be discussing her husband and says, "Katibo feed that one." But then you wonder, there's that assumption, you know, in case, but you people, why do you have to?
But you know, when a wife asks you that, Robert, and Jerem could actually highlight on this, when a wife asks you that, it is not necessarily that she's expecting you to die first.
Why don't you assume you died first?
But you're the provider, you're the protector of this home. So in the event that you're not there, what is life going to be like? I think that's where the question comes from, right, Jerem?
I'm not going to comment on anything to do with marriages. Yeah.
You're
before you.
Anyway, let's get into the local news.
Recently, someone calls me home and says, you know, this is my land title, but I'm aging. I want you to go and add on your mother's name, because in case I die, it may be hard for you to but look at this part.
Robert, you're fighting a losing battle. Let's get into the news.
Let's go into this one, no balance for sure. Well, we'll begin with our local stories, where government has updated Parliament on the progress of the capitation grant as per the financial year 2024-2025. A total of 158 local governments have been cleared by the Ministry of Education and Sports to release the funds for capitation grants, and the rest will be received by the end of September this very year. This follows a technology challenge which includes registering the students online using Education Management Information System. The Minister of State for Primary Education, Joyce Kaduchu Moriku, told Parliament on the progress. The police have attributed the high cases of corruption to middlemen who cheat unsuspecting Ugandans, but in the long run, Ugandans blame police for it. This has been disclosed by the Commissioner of Police and also Kampala Metropolitan Police Commander Esiga Richard at the launch of the anti-corruption signposts at Central Police Station.
And as long-distance runner Rebecca Cheptegei, who died on the 1st of September at the hands of her lover. He doused her with petroleum and set her ablaze, and she eventually succumbed to her wounds at the beginning of this month. But therein, in the tribute, Parliament also denounced gender-based violence amongst women in the country, saying that many of them are actually struggling. Many lawmakers and women that you would respect, women that you think have power, are struggling and fighting and suffering silently. So how do we curb the vice that is domestic violence? This conversation is close to home. It's close to home because I am a woman. So what do we do as a country? I believe personally that the fight against gender-based violence against women does not only entail women having a conversation. And I'm happy that the panelists I'm with today, that is Joram Paul and Robert Chirabo, are men. Because personally, I believe that for gender-based violence to stop, men need to be a part of the conversation. Because as women, we can get together and have these conversations, but we are not our own abusers. The people who abuse women are men. So when men join the conversation, I believe that we can actually go forward rather than when we do it alone. But if we are to look back, statistics indicate that 95% of Ugandan women had experienced physical and or sexual violence. This is according to the National Survey on Violence in Uganda. That is a report that was released by the Uganda Bureau of Statistics in 2021. And it said that around 168 deaths, that is in 2021, were experienced in that year, according to this report, and all these were due to domestic violence, gender-based violence. And also there is another report which indicates that 49.9% the prevalence of gender-based violence against women is at 49.9%. And this is actually much higher than the average for Africa and the world. So you hear where I'm coming from when we say we need to find solutions to this vice. Now, I'm going to invite the gentleman in the room for this discussion, and Joram Paul that is in Studio B. Now, Joram, I'll start with you. And you are on Twitter or X a lot. And you have been seeing many discourses regarding issues like this. But I would like to first of all pick your personal perspective on what you think are the contributing factors to the issue of gender-based violence against women. In Rebecca's case, it was property. But on a wider note, what is your perspective?
I will start with this statistic, which is rather appalling. It says that 49% of Ugandans say violence against women and girls is somewhat common. Mm-hmm. And the 49% meaning the majority, or okay, half of the population. And this is according to the Afrobarometer report that was released in 2022. And then they also, a few, 28% believe that it's very common. Meaning society that we are living in is not bothered by the fact that gender-based violence cases are rising or happen here and there. So they treat it as a common occurrence. And that, in my opinion, will be one of the most important things to look at here. And it's one of the things that I believe has also created these cases. Because if at all in the communities we know that gender-based violence is common, then what are we doing to stop it? Or are we just going to leave it out there? Because when you look at some of the cases that do happen, the beating of, let's say, women, there are those that are subjected to sexual harassment. All of this is violence in many forms. And today, society has looked at it as a common occurrence, or it's a common practice, and they're just accepting it. And then moving away from that, you also get to realize that however much we are in the modern world, there is something to do with the patriarchy that continues to enable men to grow thinking that they have all the powers over the women. And let's face it, even in a society where we are calling in for women equality and the like, you get to realize that even men who have been to, let's say, the first world countries that have tested the biggest, spice of modernization by going in Europe and, let's say, the Western world, where equal rights is a very fundamental human discussion, you get to realize that when they return home here, or let's say the academia or the elite, when they return home here, there is no change. They will continue doing the cases that they've been studying about. They will continue, violating, the rights of these women. They will continue beating up their wives. They will continue, subjecting them to heavy punishments at home simply because of, their ego, or simply because of what they believe is what they believe is the African nature, or how an African man is supposed to be respected. And when it comes to that element of respect, I think it's also one of the reasons as to why many of the women are falling prey to men and domestic violence or gender-based violence. When you look at some men who have grown up in naturally African families, and why would I say naturally African families? These are families that uphold African values and the African culture. Many of these men have been groomed to always be above the women, regardless of whether the woman is educated, regardless of whether the woman is earning more. And of course, even when you look at how society looks at the woman, is that at times you do realize that society looks at a woman as a subordinate. And of course, even the Bible puts it that the woman is supposed to be following the husband. And at times, the African men, and why am I bringing it into the African perspective? Because this is a problem now that is home, is that they tend to take this too far. They tend to stretch it far away and try and start treating these women like they're their own
like
property.
They're beneath them.
Exactly.
Their own property.
And then there is also the biggest lion in the in the room here, which is poverty. And when you look at the level of poverty in Uganda per se, in some of the communities, at times it makes most of the men insecure about the slightest of things. Because at times you get to realize that we men at times are always feeding off our egos, I should say. We always love, being, the bigger persons everywhere we go. We always want to be looked at as, the providers. We always want to be looked at as, demigods, if that is the word to say.
I like
a woman
your
has
choice of words, yeah.
to fully, a woman has to fully understand that I am a man, I am an African man, I am a Muganda, all these words.
I like that you brought that in.
And when all these things come into the picture, you can only imagine in this modern world where some women have the opportunity and are highly favored in places of work, that they're earning more than their husbands at times. When a man puts it into context, at times it becomes very difficult for the relationship or marriage to work, because one, the man is going to feel insecure. He knows that if this woman is earning more, at times the woman will not be respecting him as much, meaning his say in family matters won't be respected. And at times even the women make it difficult, because when you look at some of the cases when a woman gets the money or is highly influential in society than the man, they tend to overlook the relevance of this man, causing that that chaos, that pull and push factor within relationships. And here we are with gender-based violence.
Well, thank you, Jerome. And I can't disagree with most of what you've shared, even at the ending where you say that sometimes the ladies may push the men, but still we have a bigger problem on our hands. When you look at statistics again, they show that physical violence in Uganda is at 56% of married women that are aged between 15 to 49 that reported experiencing physical violence by their husband. And when it comes to sexual violence, 22% of women aged 15 to 49 reported experiencing sexual violence at least once. Now, when it comes to domestic violence, 65% of women suffered domestic violence. This is according to a report in 2011. And then intimate partner homicides, there we had 2,278 intimate partner homicides which were reported between 2016 and 2021. So there is a bigger issue here, and that's why we need to look at it. Now, someone will say, because gender-based violence advocates against it have been saying that lately there is something called the fight for victimhood, where when women speak up about gender-based violence, a section of men come out and say, but even men are affected. So let's look at the numbers. How many men, not that it's okay, by the way, it's not, but when you look at the number of women affected, if we're looking at 95% of women reporting to have been violated at one point, then you look at 29% of men, the math is doing the work. But that doesn't mean that I'm condoning violence against men. But let's look at it. The people that are mostly affected by gender-based violence are women, and men are at 13,693 in 2019 and 18,872 in 2020. Actually, that was the whole picture, men and women. But in 2020, 3,408 male adults reported being violated, vis-a-vis 13,145 female adults. I beg your pardon. Now, Robert, Joram has painted a pretty good picture on the causes, the contributing factors to gender-based violence. Among these is poverty, is unequal pay, maybe where the woman is earning more than the man, basically cases where there is when it comes to wealth, the woman is higher compared to the man, and that was the case when it came to Rebecca Cheptegei's issue, and that's what made her lose her life. But we know the problems. I believe all of us in this room know the problem. But what do you think should be the solution? Where do we start?
Okay, thank you so much. First, one of the other things you didn't point out, and sometimes it's a hard talk for us to discuss, religion.
Oh, yes.
Culture, then you bring in poverty, and to some extent arrivalism by the ladies. That certain things, like he mentioned towards the end, also cause domestic violence.
Is it arrivalism, or is it arrivalism, or it is men's insecurity, thinking now she has a lot and she thinks she has arrived?
There is that arrivalism that creates unnecessary excitement, that sometimes that unnecessary excitement makes it hard for men to tolerate and understand. Now, even when you talked about statistics, yes, very few men would be battered, would be beaten and speak. A number of men are experiencing domestic violence as well, gender-based violence, but it is not in us to speak out. And those are very few that speak out. But that's not the issue today. You said majority are women, and I want us to concentrate on that. Now, how best can
women and girls?
Women and girls. What are some of the solutions? Now, how do people read statistics? These are very good because they give us the gravity of the problem. They help us understand that this is a very big issue. But if we do not respond to the statistics, then that becomes a problem. Statistics help us, one, to come up with laws and policy. And I want to be very honest, I think we have a number of laws and policies that protect women, that are aimed at fighting domestic violence at all levels in this country. But the challenge we have is enforcement. For example, in 2010, we have the prohibition of female genital mutilation. We have the Act of 2010, Trafficking in Persons Act. Still have the policies such as Uganda Gender Policy, that is 2007. Have the National Policy on Elimination of Gender-Based Violence in Uganda, that is 2016. So there are so many we can mention.
Yes.
We have laws now. One, effective and quick legal processes. Our legal system, I think, only looks at political issues very quick.
That's
that
why
when
it
a
is
member
quick.
of parliament dies, they will find an alternative within 90 days. That when an election was not free and fair, you have to deal with it. But we need to look at some issues and take them seriously. No, most of the homicides you talked about, in my time as a journalist and as a reporter, every time I've covered a story where the man murdered the wife, or where the wife murdered the woman.
Yes, the husband.
Sorry, the husband.
Yes.
You find they have been frequenting police regularly.
Yeah, that's
The
true.
LCs will come out and say, you know, police has had these cases before, LC has had these cases before, church has had these cases before, family has had these cases before.
And like Joram said, they have normalized them because many victims report to having gone to police and they were told, those are family issues, go back and talk about these things and settle them.
Yes, recently there's a case I'm following in Wachiso. I think it's called the probational office something. This young man worked all his life, bought land, they of course put the wife's name, they have had issues. But you see that dilly-dallying. The officer today tells them, you now come with those that signed on the agreement. Tomorrow, the young man said, I'll stab this woman. In front of us, everyone said, but you see, we need to prioritize these cases. Take them serious. Because the statistics that indicate people, the women that are dying every year, I always talk about what we call preventable death that should have been prevented. Two, we need to come out open. These issues of let's keep this under the carpet.
We
We've
need
become
to-
so complacent
Yes.
as a country when it comes to gender-based violence.
Yes. And then the women and even the men here, they come in, they don't report because of the stigmatization.
The stigmatization, you know. And let me tell you, Sonko talked about even people who are educated. One time in this very, I think, in Parliament there, we had a name called Onesimus Tunamasiko, who says sometimes it is good you beat a woman and put her to shape, and
people laughed about it.
people laughed about
How
it.
does a member of parliament
Though
go on the
after
floor?
civil society organizations
Yes.
came out and they came
But
and
the
apologized.
audacity,
To
the fact
say
that
it
he had the
comfortably.
audacity to say that a member of parliament.
So we need to broaden our understanding and prioritize issues too. I want to say they're outdated cultures. Don't take me bad. No, people don't want to talk about culture and religion, those two areas. There are some outdated practices. And I usually don't like it when people say nagula mukazi wange.
Nakusasula.
Nakusasula.
I paid for you.
Omutwalo gwa tata, bride price. I don't know how we can change even, because bride and there is a word price.
It is selling.
I'll soon be giving her my one and only sister. But I don't want to give me anything. Because why should a man tell a young man who has come from university, I need a tank, I need a table, I need this, mutwalo gwa tata is this? No.
Robert, that is not
Because
culture.
Let's
so
hear-
let me drive my point home.
Okay.
I give you a time.
Gentlemen.
Because I want to drive, because most of the
but,
time
yes, we are running out of
I was
time,
very
so-
clever and I told you issues of culture.
Yes.
People don't want to discuss them.
Okay, why?
But we need to be realistic. So let's prioritize these cases. Let's move away from religious and cultural beliefs or things we cling on that at the end of the day have an impact on promoting gender-based violence.
Thank you, Robert. Joram, just in a few seconds, your parting remarks. You had something to comment on, Robert.
Well, I was commenting on something to do with, you know, dowry and paying the different rights. It's not, that is even far beyond culture. That's what I wanted him to know. But in my parting shot, there's a quote I'm taking from Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, who is a feminist from Nigeria. She made a comment. She has one of her famous quotes. She says, "Gender is not an easy conversation to have. It makes people uncomfortable, sometimes even irritable rather. Both men and women are resistant to talk about gender or quick to dismiss the problems of gender because thinking of changing the status quo is always uncomfortable." And when you look at this particular quote, it takes me back to the fact that we have 49% of Ugandans who know that gender-based violence is happening in society, but they are treating it as a normal situation or something that is happening.
Wow. And as we end, Kalira District Woman Representative Honorable Brenda Namukuta revealed that many female lawmakers, including herself, are suffering silently, citing that many of the women come to her for advice on how she survived. So last week we had the same conversation with an advocate against gender-based violence from Uganet, and she did say that even the women with power and money, because one of the solutions is usually that empower the women to be able to fend for themselves. But she said that even these women are suffering silently because of the stigma. They cannot come out and say they are being abused. So we really have a big problem on our hands, and the conversation has to continue. And with that said, let's continue with this discourse on our X platform. The hashtag is UBCGMU.
Remember one time we had a vice president who was being battered, and she was seeking for a divorce, and the church said divorce is not part of us.
Okay, Robert. Yeah, and that's really sad. So we can continue the conversation, and the hashtag is UBCGMU. Stay tuned as Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express comes up next. But also tomorrow in our Good Morning Friday special, we will be having Miss Tourism first runner-up and second runner-up in our newsreel at 7, and they will be talking about Uganda's tourism. So make a date with us. Stick around.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by.
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the MyMTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you so much for keeping it UBC TV and Good Morning Uganda. This is a special feature in the GMU Tourism Express featuring Mountain Renzori Marathon. So my name is Arina Lenamisang, and we have decided to keep it tourism every time, every day, from Monday to Thursday, taking you around the world of travel and giving you everything that is happening and other things that you need to know about Uganda's tourism. Now on Saturday or today, something beautiful is really happening in Kasese, the Mountain Rwenzori Marathon. And this marathon, it is beyond endurance, it is beyond a sports event, but it also promotes Uganda's tourism. Running, attracting professional athletes, leisure runners, people from different countries. 24 different people, different countries are represented in Kasese town. So Kasese town is making this event a pivotal point to attract or to shine across the global stage. And when you look at such an event, first of all, we look at how is it impacting the communities? How are the local people making sales out of it? How is tourism being promoted? How is culture and heritage being preserved? And how is conservation also being mentioned in such marathons? But the whole point is that when we come together to promote Uganda's tourism in such a race, it is just important, or it is just beautiful that each one of us as Ugandans come together to see that we run. It is not just about running, but it is about coming up, standing up for our country and promoting Uganda's tourism. Now, this happens annually. It is an annual event that is putting a shine on Kasese, because when you look at Uganda's tourism, most of the people have been knowing, maybe Kampala marathons have been knowing, the Kabaka run. Yes, all those are beautiful, but now how about having thousands and millions of people running for one common goal, that is promoting Uganda's tourism? So it is just a plus to see that we have different countries, international athletes, we have professional athletes, shoe brand ambassadors promoting the country's tourism to even a global scale, but also knowing that Kasese is one of the beautiful cities that someone should think about when they're planning a safari. But what you need to know even when you come to Kasese, there are different attractions that you can do when you come to Kasese town. First of all, Queen Elizabeth National Park, there is Kazinga Channel, there is chimp trekking in Chambura Goja and Kalizu Forest Reserve, there is Mountain Rwenzori hiking. So there are so many activities that you can do. Actually, when you talk about tourism cities, I feel like even Kasese should be considered. The Minister of Tourism should consider that as Kasese, also make it like a tourism city, because when it gets to terms of tourism, Kasese is really shining. Accommodation facilities are fully booked. Transporters are working. I was looking at the global link buses. Guys are excited because the transportation is fully booked, and that is nice. But I'm going to urge you, if you've not been here this year, make sure that next year you really do not fail to make it here in Kasese, so that together we promote Uganda's tourism.
First of all, thank you for coming and thank you for participating, and everyone who participated. This is very good for tourism, very good for the Rwenzori region, very good for Kasese, very good for the products we have around this area, the Mount Rwenzori National Park, the Rwenzori Ranges themselves, and the other products around the entire Rwenzori area. So this is good. This marathon has been a success. I want to thank the participants who have come. It has been full business for the community in Kasese since a couple of days ago, and we believe it will continue the same. Hotels booked, food has been bought. So I think this is good. This is good, and it gives a positive image about Uganda as a country, as a destination, but also Kasese and the Rwenzori as a community. And probably over the years, this grows into and brands Uganda as one of the major destinations for people that want to participate in running and marathon. So I think this has been good.
I want to confirm I ran 10 kilometers and I completed it, and I'm very sure I'm among the top 10 who completed 10 kilometers. If anyone can prove it, I have a chip. They can use this chip in their system to prove what number I am. And actually, I am interested, but what I can say, I am among the top 10. So I finished my race, but it's not about finishing. It's about the reason why we are here. Why we are here, first is the sports tourism. Number two, we must appreciate sports tourism brings in more money into the country. World over, those big nations use sports tourism as a source of bringing in more money into their respective country. No wonder you see the London Marathon, New York, Chicago, Boston, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Belgium, Brussels. All this, what does it entail? It's money which sports tourism aids at leveraging into their respective country. For Kasese, with due respect, this marathon has achieved its objective. That one I want to be honest. Look at the numbers which are here. I have been told all hotels were fully booked. I have been told all food was fully eaten. I've been told some people even had nowhere to sleep. And from Fort Photo up Lubirizi, all these areas up Gwera, people stayed in. What's that? If we were to translate how much money, even if we take a case study of each person spending 1 million, multiply by what? By 15,000 people. How much money is that? And all that money has remained where? Has remained here. And that all translates into one challenge that we must accept to put in more infrastructure, more facilities, so that next year we continue getting more numbers.
I'm really excited that I was again part of this 2024 edition of the Tascalite Resori Marathon. Part of the over 3,000 runners who participated in the various races. Kasese has never been the same after the very first edition, and this particular edition has literally turned the entire Kasese into green. It is exciting. It gives you the best picture when running. It's very scenic. For those of us who did the smaller races, you run around the city, but the 42 and 21 have a very beautiful background when they're running, and it was really exciting seeing them run. We passed some of them on the way here, and it was also nice to see the locals welcoming the runners, encouraging the runners to even continue running and not walk. And it was also good to see that everyone in Kasese has been welcomed and excited about what I think is going to be one of Uganda's biggest sports events in the year. I really would like to encourage the locals, especially Kasese community, to participate, because most of the runners came from Kampala and other districts around Kasese. You don't have many local runners, but I know that Kasese has been encouraging more local runners. I am hopeful that next year we'll get to see more local runners, maybe 1 or 2 winners in the 10K and 5K who should be local runners. But for me, the bigger picture is that we are marketing Brand Uganda. We are marketing the Explore Uganda campaign, which is part of the reason why the Resori Marathon is taking place. The bigger picture is to encourage many people to come and see this beautiful country. Resori gives a great backdrop, but it's not the only place people should come and visit. We have the great Mbale Caldera in Elgon. We have the great Kidepo National Park. We have the Murchison Falls National Park. But when someone comes to Kasese, they discover how beautiful this country is, and it encourages as many people to come and enjoy the beautiful country we have. I saw influencers for the different sports companies. I saw influencer journalists who write about marathons around the world. That is a good thing, because they will tell the story of Resori, which is the bigger picture of how can we get more people to come and see our beautiful country.
If you've not been here this year, make sure that next year you really do not fail to make it here in Kasese, so that together we promote Uganda's tourism. Thank you for watching.
Well, good morning, and I'm glad to have your company here on Good Morning Uganda. It's now time for Good Morning Uganda Business. I'm Jerome Paul Songo. Today is the 19th day of September 2024. Tomorrow on the 20th, here on Good Morning Uganda Friday edition, please do note that we shall be having the new Miss Tourism, as well as the first runners-up and the second runners-up here in our newsreel. So it will be an exciting conversation that we'll be having, the beauties that are exploring Uganda, those that are pushing and of course advertising Uganda beyond their beauty and brains, but also preaching the gospel of the Pearl of Africa as a tourism destination. That will be on for tomorrow. But now it's time for us to switch our eyes to what is coming in from the world of business, with which I'll start off with the Uganda and USA trade, because according to the Presidential Advisory Committee on Exports and Industrial Development, that is PASAID, it is organizing the Pan-African Business Forum Uganda, which is scheduled to take place in Munyonyo from October 6th to the 12th, 2024. Now, this forum is aiming to highlight the urgent need to strengthen trade relations between East Africa and the United States. The inaugural 2024 Pan-African Business Forum, Uganda, is seeking to provide the African diaspora with a home and a platform to develop a strategy for Uganda and the continent. This includes fostering a strategy for Uganda and also fostering socio-economic integration and promoting trade, investment and the element of research and advanced technologies. As of 2021, the United States was the world's largest consumer market with over $18 million recorded in consumer spending. Now, the Presidential Advisory Committee on Exports and Industrial Development, or PASAID, led by Audrey Rabogo, aims to leverage this trend by enabling Ugandan entrepreneurs to enhance both the quality and the quantity of production in key sectors as agriculture and tourism. Now, despite Uganda's suspension from AGOA effective January 1st of 2024, PASAID, in collaboration with the government, is employing a trade representatives approach to sustain and grow market penetration in the U.S. while negotiations for reinstatement progress. Now, this event is further expected to facilitate an increase in Uganda's exports by $10 billion by the year 2030. And of course, Audrey Rabogo is a gentleman who normally reminds Ugandans that it's always important to have a share of the United States market, simply because now every business in the United States always makes some sense, because when you want to compete for the bigger markets, you definitely have to have a share of the cake. In the US, greater markets like Europe and the like. Well, now that said, we turn to Uganda, because the Parliamentary Committee on Gender, Labour and Social Development, together with the Parliamentary Forum for Children and Civil Society Organizations, are calling on the government to make an inclusive children's budget for the 2024-2025, or rather for the 2025-2026 financial year, which starts 1st July 2025. Critical issues affecting children, such as education, health and nutrition, were discussed at a crucial conference in Kampala. Now, when you look at the civil society organizations, they've further cited an inadequacy of health workers and teachers, especially for the children at refugee camps, where the pressure on social services is becoming overwhelming. They call upon government's inclusion of children in the financial year 2025-2026 budget, and there was also a call for the operationalization of early childhood learning policy and the provision of free education at pre-primary level. The civil society organizations also emphasized the need for government to address the skyrocketing education fees, which continue to burden the parents and impact learners. With over 1 million refugee children, the call for the employment of more health workers and teachers has become urgent. And well, as we're summing up with business, we now focus on the forex market, courtesy of the central bank, looking at how the Ugandan shilling has been faring on the exchange for the past 24 hours. This is close of business yesterday. By opening time on Wednesday, the US dollar was buying at 3,711.27 Ugandan shillings, while selling of the same currency was at 3,721.27 shillings. Closing time saw the US dollar buy at 3,715.23 shillings, while selling with 3,725.00 shillings. Looking at the Great Britain pound, buying was 4,895.63, while selling was 4,908.81. That is how you will find it. And then the euro was buying at 4,132.94 shillings, while selling at 4,144.06 shillings. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 28.80, while selling at 28.88 shillings. And the Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.37, or selling at 1.37. Meanwhile, the South African rand was buying at 211.19, while selling at 211.75. These are exchange rates that are updated 3 times daily. That's from Monday to Friday by the central bank. And of course, the currencies tend to change in hours from now till evening time. That is for those who will be heading out to the Forex Bureau and the like. On Saturday at 8:30 p.m., Here on UBC, we have the business roundup, a roundup of and a wrap-up of business stories that have been making headlines throughout the week. For now, Good Morning Uganda business updates do end on a Thursday, and I'll be back on Monday to give you more details of the same, but also more of the information coming in is that the Prime Minister arrived to represent His Excellency Yoweri Museveni in New York at this year's UN General Assembly. And during the Prime Minister's work visit, she will hold several bilateral meetings to advance Uganda's development agenda. That is the Right Honourable Robina Nabanja. Well, that does it for business this week. Olive Monica Najuma is here with the traffic updates.
Well, it is time for our traffic updates. I'm Olive Monica Najuma. Now, today we are going to do it differently. Today, instead of sharing routes with traffic jam or with smooth flow of traffic, let's talk about traffic tips. You see, there is a thing Ugandan motorists do. When you are driving, you think that the boda riders, the tuk-tukus are not supposed to be on the road. And you will hear, if you sit in someone's car or even in a taxi, they're normally cussing at the bodas, even when the bodas are actually in the right. So it is important for us to note that all of us are road users. Even the person on the pavement is a road user. So what do? Keep in your lane, ensure that you leave enough space on the left side of your car so that the bodas can easily also go through the road, because the road is for all of us. But also, when you're driving in a built community, let's say Acacia Avenue, Yusufule Road, you need to ensure that you do not drive at speeds that are supposed to be for highways. You find someone cruising at 80 kilometers per hour along Acacia Avenue just because it is smooth, but this is a built environment. In the morning when I'm coming to work here, let's say on a Monday or even tomorrow morning on Friday, because for many Kampalans the weekend starts on Thursday, you're going to find commotion on that road. Now imagine if let's say from Acacia Mall up until up until Ora, there is smooth flow of traffic, and then you start coming in at 60, 80 kilometers per hour, and then as you head to Protea, you find traffic there, maybe foot traffic or cars parked within the road. You might cause an accident. So what am I saying? If you are driving within a built community, ensure that your speed is at least 30, at most 40 kilometers per hour. But also let's pay attention to road signages. In some places, let's say if you're driving along Kulambiro Road, you're going to find signages there that will show you how much speed you must be at as you're driving. And still speaking about built communities, Kulambiro Ring Road, you're going to find that there are children crossing the road, there are people walking alongside the road, and any of these people might cross the road when you zero expect it. So always be attentive, do not drive and also speak on your phone, and the biggest of them all, do not drive and text. You will become a danger to yourself and also other road users. And in our next segment on Good Morning Uganda, we will be speaking about road safety because accidents have become a menace on our roads and have claimed many people, including high-ranking members of society and also ordinary Ugandans. So stick with us.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Maskari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Juko.
Yo.
Wachikuwa. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sematia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. But what you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
107.3 Kampala, 96.9 Mbale, 95.7 Jinja, 98.6 Soroti. You are all covered.
UBC Butego. UBC Butego.
In today's video, we are delighted to present to you an exclusive compilation of the top 10 natural brain boosters to help you unlock your brain's full potential. So let's dive right in. Number 10. Blueberries. These little powerhouses are packed with antioxidants that help improve brain function and delay brain aging. They also contain flavonoids that have been linked to cognitive benefits, so make sure to incorporate them into your diet. Number 9. Dark chocolate. Yes, you heard it right. Dark chocolate contains flavonoids, caffeine, and antioxidants that can enhance focus and mood. A delicious way to boost your brain. Choose chocolate with at least 70% cocoa for maximum benefits. Number 8. Turmeric. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, potentially supporting brain health and reducing the risk of neurodegenerative diseases. Start adding turmeric to your dishes. Number 7. Green tea. Sip on a cup of green tea for a natural brain boost. It contains caffeine and L-theanine, which can increase alertness and improve brain function. Number 6. Fatty fish. Rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Particularly DHA, fatty fish like salmon, trout, and sardines are excellent for brain health. They can enhance memory, focus, and protect against cognitive decline. Number 5. Nuts and seeds. Packed with nutrients like vitamin E, healthy fats, and antioxidants, nuts and seeds are great for brain health and improving cognitive function. Number 4. Broccoli. This veggie is a true brain booster. It is high in antioxidants and vitamin K compounds that may help support brain health. It can also help reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, enhancing brain function and slowing down brain aging. Number 3. Eggs. They're not only a great source of protein, but also contain important nutrients like vitamins B6 and B12, folate, and choline. These nutrients are crucial for brain health. Number 2. Avocados. These creamy fruits are loaded with healthy fats, vitamin K, and folate. They can improve cognitive abilities, enhance memory, and protect brain cells. Number 1. Leafy greens. Vegetables like spinach and kale are rich in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, supporting overall brain health. In addition to incorporating these foods, adopting a healthy lifestyle that includes regular physical activity, adequate sleep, and stress management is crucial for optimal brain function. It's important to note that individual responses to these foods may vary, and maintaining a well-balanced diet is key to overall health and brain function. Before making significant dietary changes or adding supplements, it's advisable to consult with a healthcare professional or a registered dietitian. So there you have it, the top 10 natural brain boosters. Incorporate these into your lifestyle and unlock your brain's full potential. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more informative content.
Max Media Promotion presents Omukwano Chechi Concert. Taking place on the 27th of September 2024 at Tavern Woods, Kabusu. There will be exciting performances from Message Semakula, Jofre Lutaya, Winnie Nwaji, Kabuya Semboga, Queen Florence, and Olisha M. Entrance is only 20k ordinary, 50k VIP, and a table at 500,000. For bookings, call 0759 677 502 or 0785 310 388. Come ready to dance the night away from 7 p.m. till late. Sponsored by UBC, Success Motors, Kampala City Grammar, and KT Sounds.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Good Morning Uganda, time for the agenda segment where we delve deeper into the issues that affect our country with the opinion leaders in our society. I'm Olive Monica Najuma. Now, 2 UPDF generals died in a car crash. 2 of the generals died in a crash, and it's really sad news coming in, but also it should be noted that many Ugandans are consistently losing their lives and also their limbs because of accidents on different roads in the country, especially our highways. They have become a death trap. And also in the cities, it's reported that those that die the most are border riders and also passengers, and also those that lose their limbs the most when it comes to urban centers and cities are still border riders and border users plus pedestrians and then motorists. So the problem is dire, getting out of hand, because when you look at police reports regarding accidents, every new report indicates that we are experiencing more accidents than the last time. So how do we change this? How do we maintain the right attitude for road safety consistency? That's the question we are asking today and the conversation that we are delving in as of this morning. And I am having this conversation with a trainer of drivers, that is Tamale Wilson, who is the director, Country View Driving School. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning
Olive.
Uganda.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Yes.
Yourself?
I'm okay. I'm
Now,
very fine.
And now, Mr. Tamale,
Yes.
when you hear the news about another road accident,
Yes,
it seems like every other week there is reports regarding road accidents. Now, recently we lost 2 generals in a road due to road carnage, but also numerous Ugandans are losing limbs. When you visit Mulago, the picture there is not good at all. So when you hear all of this happening, as the trainer of drivers, what comes to your mind?
Well, my name is Tamale Wilson, as Olive has introduced me, please, and I'm a director for Country View Driving School. I've been talking about this since 1983. It's really sad, and we have to make sure we use our roads competently, because we are going to lose a lot of people, very, very important people, very useful people, and also we shall have people being lame for all of their lives, and also having many people in hospitals, different hospitals, visit hospitals, see what will happen, what is happening there. So if we really don't use our roads very well, depending on any kind of and type of road user, we are going to have a lot of problems. Our families will suffer. Our economy will go down, and we shall not have to develop ourselves and go forward together, because if people don't really do what is expected of them, actually in defensive driving, we call it anticipation, we are going to have a lot of loss in our country. So I'm saying that let everybody, as we go along with the Olive, we are going to give you some tips, you know, some things you have to consider and know that we must be safe on our roads.
Indeed, we must be safe on our roads. And you know, it's just news reports until you are affected or until someone you know is affected. So it's important to have the right attitude regarding road safety. According to a Uganda police report, 8 people died and 20 others were injured in a fatal road crash that occurred at Kabale Bugonzi along Masaka Kampala highway involving motor vehicles. That there was a bus and then a Jaguar. And then we also have the traffic police spokesperson Michael Kananura saying that drivers in most cases are driving recklessly and also are over speeding. Now in this instance where 8 people died, the bus rolled multiple times, ending up claiming the lives of 8 passengers and injuring 20 others. So you can imagine what we are looking at. Now this is one incident, but we have many, whereby in August, in just 1 week, there was a report which showed that 80 people had died due to road accidents in a week. Imagine that. So when we talk about road safety, it is rather a huge problem that we are facing as a country. And as we launch into the last months of the year, that is October, November and December, we normally actually see more cases of accidents on our roads, because around this time, as we get into the festive season, many people are applying many long and short routes, and some of these are not really experienced drivers. Others do not have the right attitude when it comes to driving and road safety. And when you put all of these aspects together, we now have more cases of road carnage. But one would wonder, who are the different road users? Earlier on in our traffic tips, I gave an example of who is supposed to be on the road. But now that I am with an expert when it comes to driving, let's look at that at first. So, Mr. Tamale,
yes,
I would like for you to educate us on who the different road users are supposed to be. Because I could be driving my car thinking that someone who is riding a bicycle is not supposed to be on the road. So please.
Yes. Yes, that one is also a vehicle. Let us have examples of many things, people doing different things on the road. Some of them are selling things, some of them are promoting things on our roads, some of them are putting certain foods for drying them in the sun, and the others are pedestrians walking on our roads. Others are cyclists, motorcyclists, and drivers of different types, classes of vehicles, doing very, very, very many things, different purposes. Some of these drivers are driving their own vehicles. Some of them use them for transporting people, like a PSCV, public service vehicles. Some of them use them to carry goods. Some of them use them to move different things, like some of them are toxic, like materials, fuel, fire brigades, patrol vehicles, ambulances. All those people use our roads. So we have many different types of people, and also in different sizes of vehicles. Some of them are big trucks, some of them are trailers, some of them have a lot of weight that when it crashes something, it leaves nothing there. And you can think of about lives. We are like tomatoes, we human beings. But even houses, property, animals, and other things, if all are destroyed by the size of the vehicle, the weight of the vehicle, so we are going to lose a lot of lives and property.
Lots of lives and property. Now there is also a discourse on where, especially for new drivers, when I am on the road as a new driver, where am I supposed to expect the border rider to pass so that I can maintain enough distance for them, so that one, I don't crash them, two, they don't ram into my car and go away with my side mirror or scratch my car, but majorly so that no life is affected.
On the side of those two-wheeled, maybe three-wheeled as well, what you call tricycles, quadricycles, putting together two-wheeled, because even pedestrians are vehicles. Yes. We can allow, starting with the pedestrians, to walk on the right, but beyond the pavement, we leave walkways. All pedestrian walkways are left there. But other vehicles, apart from pedestrians, should use the carriageway. The carriageway is between the pavement left, pavement right, but the space in between, including a dividing line, or maybe an island built by some of metallic barriers or pavements, that one can separate our roads. All of us use the carriageway. So I've told you that these steps, we don't use the whole road, but we use the carriageway. You take an example or a picture of the pavement or pavement on the left and pavement on the right, that space left is the carriageway. Everybody is supposed to use that, depending on our system in Uganda, that we are driving on the left. And I know that everybody is fighting for that space, because most of our roads don't have a lot of lanes. So we all fight for that space left. So all of us are going to use, and I know that we shall have what we call in defensive driving, mixed traffic, because border will pass there, motor cars, trailers, lorries, and animals and other things. But we are supposed to use that space defensively, so that everybody can move smoothly and efficiently.
When you say use that space defensively, what exactly do you mean?
I mean that as our roads are constructed, a road has many other things on it. We have, if you talk about the walkway on the left and also on the right, we can also fix the trenches, and also we can put some signs, signals, and other things, which is a language for everybody who is using that road. And also it takes time for those people using the road to be trained in them. So after that, we can make our road designed and also placed, all made hard for vehicles to pass on. It can be tarmac, it can be malam, but what matters is that the vehicle, the bicycle, the pedestrian does not pass where it is soft. So we use all those places as a road, but the particular place for driving is the carriageway. And you must also put this in account that when you lose pressure in your bicycle or on your boda or motorcycle, you change the side. In Uganda, because we are from Chogam, Commonwealth, we use left. But if you have any mechanical problem on a bicycle or a motorcycle, you have to cross and go like a pedestrians on the other side on the walkway, rolling that.
So you roll it towards oncoming
roll it,
traffic.
yes, you roll it towards the oncoming traffic, as you said,
Okay.
And then you can continue rolling that until you go to the mechanics doing it. So even we put, on our roads, zebra crossings and pedestrian crossings, traffic lights and other things. But when you are crossing a traffic light or a pedestrian crossing on a bicycle or a motorcycle, you switch off the engine, roll it like a pedestrians, cross to the other side. Even if you are picking somebody, you can say, "Boda, come." You can put on.
Are you supposed to get off the bike, the bicycle, or the motorcycle, and you roll it while walking
through the zebra crossing? And, like I told you last. So you have to do that. Most people don't know that. Don't roll it on the side of vehicles going as left as we're going.
All right, too many points to pick out here, and the conversation today is rotating around the right attitude for road safety consistency in a bid to curb road carnage in the country. We have a traffic road accident situation ongoing, and it is getting out of hand. So how do we ensure that there is normalcy? How do we ensure that there is safety on our roads? We have these conversations and try to educate Ugandans on the different ways you can have the right attitude and consistency when you are, I beg your pardon, when you are on the road. And I'm having this conversation with Tamale Wilson, who is the director of Country View Driving School. Now, before we continue, you talked about the carriageway. I would like for you to tell us more about the accelerator lane. Which one is that?
Accelerator lane. If you are going your way, maybe through the junction, maybe through the T-junction, maybe over the roundabout, maybe any kind of situation and the condition and the position you are in, you have to have the kind of components you are using on your vehicle. Remember, everything on the road, as we said, is a vehicle. So if you are using all the components of the vehicle, you will need them at that particular time you want to use them. So one of them is accelerating. You can accelerate other things, but if you are using driving and moving on our roads, you have to use all components which are on the vehicle. Most of them, if you are driving, for example, an automatic, you have to use the component accelerator. If you want to reduce speed or brake, you have to use the brake pedal. If you are driving manual, you have to clutch and such things. The same way, if you are using the left-hand drive system, everything is almost the same. It's only sitting and engaging over there using different hands. pedestrians. But if you are on our roads, there's time you will need the accelerator. There is time we will pause for reducing for certain things, maybe potholes, maybe humps, maybe somebody crossing in front of you, maybe animals, children, and other things. Please, I also urge you in this or on this note and point that road users, please control your accelerator most of the time, because of the community of motorcycles and bicycles and pedestrians. Actually, you are the ones in vehicles. Very few people consider those people because they are small to be seen by other drivers of different, maybe high vehicles, small vehicles, and other things. Keep your leg on brake than accelerator to save most of the lives of the people using that kind of transport.
Okay, so I would like for you to paint a picture for us. If I am, let's say, driving on the Northern Bypass,
yes,
or Lugogo Bypass, or the expressway, which one on that road is the accelerator lane?
Is the accelerator lane.
Is it the lane that where you're supposed to drive very fast, like if you are driving fast? And because you see on the road there is someone, let's say on the highway, there is someone driving at 80, 100, 120 kilometers per hour, and then there is someone that is driving at maybe 60. So when I'm on the expressway or Northern Bypass, which one of those is should I take?
Yeah, that will depend on the type of vehicle you are using.
Okay.
If you are
say it's a Subaru.
Yes, Subaru, yes. But also if you are using vehicles like motorcycles and bicycles and pedestrians, we don't allow such people on, for example, express.
Yes.
But also if you are using all of them on Northern Bypass, because you can use all of them there, we can leave the part for pedestrians if that is created there. But also we can create some other parts of the road for if it involves climbing. We can create a climbing lane for vehicles going slowly in case of such a place where we can create that one for vehicles.
I've seen a climbing lanes in Ginger.
Yes. Those are two lines and we call them climbing lines. But also after the created lane, there is time when they converge. When they converge, then it turns into one line. Still, it is one line prohibiting you to cross or overtake, because that place is dangerous. Maybe there are black spots like corners, like a hill, like a junction, like a bridge, to mention but a few. So what you have to do as a road user is to make sure you are safe. And also you people driving on Northern Bypass, because we know that many people are killed there.
Yes.
So always make sure you use the extreme left lane if it's there.
If you're driving what, fast or slow?
If you are driving slow.
The extreme left.
Extreme left.
Okay.
If you are driving fast, please, you can use the inner lane. After within the road there is a dividing line. Don't cross if it is not allowed because of what I've said.
Okay.
So always vehicles going slowly, always keep extra lane. We have other also signs we see on Entebbe Road, not exactly the old one. We have our old Entebbe Road, starting from
the one
Kibuye.
that goes through Najanankumbi, Namasuba.
We also have signs there that keep left unless you are overtaking.
Yes.
But also we have to keep in mind that on such a road, we might have 2 or 3 or more lanes. Always you are advised all the time to keep left. But also there is a scenario when a big person is passing, say a protocol observed. But let me talk about the presidential motorcade. That is a convoy. If he is coming, please, and you are in the middle, all the inside lane after the metallic barriers, and you have to use all your mirrors, because the second eye you use as a driver on the road, and you see that the lead vehicle is coming, maybe unaware, and you are not aware, please, you have to make sure you park there. You park there,
where
slow down.
You are in
yes,
the
where
inner
you
lane.
are in the inner lane.
I'm
giving example when there are about 3 lanes.
Yes.
Even if there are 2. Park there, don't fight. Don't try to struggle to cross
to the
left, because there won't be any time for you.
And they are driving very fast.
Yes. And in case there is another vehicle on the left, on the first lane, and you are in the middle, make sure you leave gap perpendicularly for these vehicles to maneuver, because they know, they are trained how to do that. So always make sure, if there is no problem, keep on the left. If any condition catches you in there, park where you are, and make sure leave these people move freely. They know how to pass.
That's very key, by the way, because imagine you're in the inner lane and you have never experienced the presidential motorcade or any other motorcade that is supposed to bypass you. And now you are, because in my head I was thinking probably you're supposed to cross over and go to the left. But Tamale Wilson here is saying that stay where you are, park, but make sure that you leave space between your car and the car that is on the left, perpendicularly, so that they can maneuver through. They know how to do it. So this is very, very important, because when you're driving, you never know where the motorcade is going to find you or where you will find it. So be extremely careful and take note of this tip. Now, Tamale, I would like for us to continue and now talk about the different types of roads. For most of us, we know there is tarmac roads and there is maram roads. But in your experience and as a trainer of drivers, what are the different types of roads?
Unless these people know where they are driving vehicles and where they are supposed to slow down, to accelerate, continue accelerating, to reduce speed, to park, maybe completely, you would not be safe on our roads. The roads have in 3 types mainly. There can be more. I'm not saying we can construct more things according to the system, but we have to know that the first type of the road is called the primary road. Primary road is actually can be called highway or motorway in other countries. Primary roads are very wide. Is it also
the freeway?
Yes.
Okay.
Freeway. They are big. They are 2 ways. And they are well done. Most of them are well done in different countries, even Uganda. Our those primary roads are well done, and but it doesn't mean that you drive the speed you want, because there will be speeds at different parts of that road as allocated. Because there are other features like roundabouts, there are humps, there are hospitals, schools, and other things, so junctions. So always make sure you will drive as allocated. We have another type called secondary roads. Those are roads which partly can be tarmacked, but also can be malamed, but well done as well. District roads, municipal, council roads, and those are also done, but they join, like the primary join countries to countries, and also very big cities to cities. These also can link small towns or big towns, but they are partly done. Some of them have potholes, some of them are eroded. eaten on the sides by water. Some of them can be repaired, but also the repair is not very smooth. But those are secondary roads, we can use them. The third type is tertiary roads. Those are not well done. Those are roads really sometimes link secondary roads. They can be called feeder roads from villages and other parts of the world to link up with the secondary roads. So some of them have potholes, trenches, and if it rains, the roads get a lot of slippery. So those are the types of roads we have.
Yeah. Now, when we talk about the types of roads, and then we now get to talk about the different conditions. And Tamale, I would like for you to please tell us more about the different adverse conditions when it comes to driving, because sometimes when there has been an accident, you will hear the police report indicating that there was fog. And also at what point are we supposed to use our full lights, because you have also had reports where an accident happened because the driver or the oncoming driver says that they had been blinded by the oncoming lights.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, as we talked about the roads, we have to use them very carefully. And you people, you must know from the primary, secondary, and tertiary roads, we get other names like highways, like avenues, like a terrace, roads going through mountains, like a bypass, like subways, like a crescent, like a close.
What
like
does
a
crescent mean?
Yeah, a crescent means a road which merges from the main road and joins that same road at another point on the same main road.
Okay.
Yeah, some taxis use that, dodging traffic jam, going through estates, maybe through gardens of people, farms and other things. So you have to make sure you don't go beyond 10 to 20 because there are children parking in those kind of
in the crescent. Yes. So when you see here, how about avenue?
Avenue is a road which is two-way but surrounded by trees. In
Nile
most cases,
Avenue.
in Nile Avenue,
Okay, let's
Avenue, Kabaka Avenue,
okay.
And have a lot of zebra crossings and pedestrian crossings because they go through through departments, government parastatals, and such things.
Oh wow! Now here, I was thinking they're just fancy words added to names of roads, Acacia Avenue.
Actually, people must know how to drive on them and what speed.
Okay.
But also we have like ally, like a street, which is very dangerous. A street is full of people, congested. It goes through shops and markets. So your speed limit shouldn't exceed 5 to 10 because of the congestion within. Take an example of South Street. Take an example of Loom Street.
Main Street in
Main
Ginger.
Street, many people there. So as we are doing that, we have to make sure that we look also at obstacles. Obstacles means some of the things, actually we can call them hazards, which will tamper or antagonize with your safety as you drive. So such things include things like fog, smoke, dust. They also can include mist, to mention a few. But you have to know and do some things which will make you be seen by other people and you see them. So if you have automobile, a vehicle using engine, you can put on some parking lights. You can put on as dipped light, but slow your speed as slowly as possible because you might not have vision, very much vision, or penetrate through the smoke which has made a pillar in the middle of the road, or dust in case you are overtaking one person coming from the other side and you are going that way, has a lot of dust in between. It will be very, very, very difficult to see, observe that very person. So always you have to do things which will make you be seen. In case of night as well, you have to do some other things like carrying a torch if you're a pedestrian. Motorcycle, your light must be there 24 hours. And also bicycles, but I don't know whether bicycles are doing that these days. Put on reflecting clothes in case of night and rainy season to be sure you are very safe.
That's right. When it comes to reflecting clothes, I've realized that in the morning, the people who like to jog, now they have also picked up wearing shoes that have reflectors on them. So sometimes their clothes are dark, but then the shoes are going to show you that someone is coming. And you know that some of our roads, especially in the suburbs, are not well lit. So you have to wear a reflector so that the driver coming on identifies you that you're also in front or coming towards them. Now, Tamale, when we talk about the right attitude for road safety consistency, what exactly do we mean?
You have to know that attitude is something which can be termed as general outlook.
Okay.
General outlook in front of you, using the eyes God gave you, using the second eye, those are mirrors. Seeing all around you from left to right, and make sure that you really can recognize for hazards all around you. So the attitude you have to make, because we have seen that most accidents start with attitude. Attitude means mental decision. After being trained to get the skill, to use the controls, to use the vehicle as you like, and it performs the way you like. And also parts of your body to control the vehicle. The other thing is knowledge. After having the knowledge, all the knowledge you must have is under training from a driving school. So after being trained very well, you get that knowledge about yourself, about the vehicle you are driving, that you take it routinely for checks before you start it in the morning, or when you have parked for a long time, or in the evening. You have to make sure that you know about roads and changes which can happen because of the environment and climate. After that, you have to make sure that the attitude you have will help bridge that knowledge you have already got, and also the skill you have already acquired from a driving school. Take example of Country View Driving School. So after that, you will make sure that whatever is going to be done is now the mentor. Take time to think about what you are going to do. Take time to leave a lot of space for bicycles and motorcycles. Take time to budget your journey. Know that I'm needed at a particular time at a certain place. And I have to know the stretch. For example, Kampala to Masaka. If it is 80 miles, I know it very well. And I know that driving there takes 2 hours. Duration, and also I'm needed there at 12. I'll start early, maybe 2 hours before, for miscellaneous things which
like
can
traffic
happen.
jam,
like
road accidents. Yes.
Katonga has broken, such things.
Yes.
Bridges, different bridges. So always make sure you start early your journey and budget time for your journey. Make sure you stay calm in whatever you are doing, such that you avoid impatience and also rushing other people, mistreating them, and also thinking, using other components like horns, engine ravings, and other things. So you have to make sure that you interact with other road users very well. All that it comes from the brain. What the brain thinks is what you're going to act with your hands and other parts of your body.
That's right. And if you're a Subaru driver, we know it's a steady car and it runs very fast, but it doesn't mean that don't plan your journeys, start late because you know you will drive fast. Plan your journeys, budget your time. Now, Mr. Tamale, as we come to the end of our discussion, please let us know how people can find you. Where is the Country View Driving School located? How do they find you if they want to polish their driving or just to learn driving? You also said you train riders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Country View Driving School started way back in 1983 at Nakulabi, same place. After traffic lights right now, they are constructed there. Take Mengo Road. A few meters, you'll see Country View Driving School on the left.
Mengo Road.
Many vehicles, yeah, Balintuma Road.
Balintuma Road.
You just go straight from the traffic lights. It's just a 5 minutes or 3 minutes.
Okay, any contact?
Yeah, any contact, yes. So there you will find Country View Driving School. We are in Kitebi, we are in Mubende and other places. So you can call the number 0772 410 480 or 0702 28 61 01. But we are on other medias, TikTok, we are there, Facebook, and there are others. But let me give you the Bazungu need these medias very well. www.countryviewdrivingschool.ug.
Well, thank you so much.
Welcome, please.
Road safety tips. That's what we have been giving you this morning because we need you to be safe, so that you can wake up with us every single morning at 6:30 up until 9 a.m. Now, our conversation ends here, but Good Morning Uganda continues. Ruben Pima is coming up next with the sports updates. And I, plus Robert and Joram Paul Sonko, will catch you again tomorrow, Friday's special, at 6:30, like we always do. Stick around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together,